What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp, managing editor of Fightful.com, FightfulMMA.com, and FightfulSelect.com. This show brought to you ad-read free by FightfulSelect.com. If you haven't checked that out, we have a ton of extra exclusive podcast content over there. Today, I dropped the Fightful Select Weekender podcast where I review everything pretty much, but Raw and SmackDown. Also, have the UFC rankings update over there, my breakdown on that, how I think that all panned out. Also, the Retro Review podcast dropped today. Great American Bash 1996. That was a real fun time. Also, a lot of scripts. I dropped the Fightful Wrestling Weekly there early. Just a ton of stuff over there. Check it out. We're talking UFC Utica tonight, and hot damn, I'm still alive. I am thankful that Jessica Aguilar fight got canned, or else I may have fallen asleep. Just to update you guys on that, Jessica Aguilar, once considered one of the top women's fighters in the world, honestly, had her fight pulled with Jodie Esquibel just mere minutes before the show was about to start due to chapped lips. I don't know, man. Napoleon Dynamite didn't get out of fighting his cage fighter brother that easily when he had chapped lips, so I don't know why Jessica Aguilar gets a free pass. Also, judging by UFC and UFC on Fox's Twitter accounts tonight, it seemed like they had kind of checked out on their deal. There wasn't a lot of activity, at least compared to the way that they usually did things. Also, during this show, man, whoo! Andrea Lee, UFC fighter, her husband, she tweeted some photos of her and her husband out and about somewhere, and motherfuckers got Nazi tattoos. That didn't sit well. I have a hard time believing UFC will let him anywhere near their events, their official events, until he gets that covered up or something. She said that he had those applied when he was in prison. I don't know. That's been years ago. Don't know why you wouldn't get that covered up. He's got multiple. That is a messy, messy situation. Can't go running around with shit like that on your arms. Let's go ahead and talk about this show. Shorty Torres, obviously a bit of a friend of Fightful. We've interviewed him 6-7 times. Easily interviewed him more than any other outlet has. He got a win over Jared Brooks in what I thought was probably, as far as high-level fights go, probably number 3 on the depth chart behind Gillespie Pichel and Moraes Rivera. The irony is neither of these guys are ranked, but Shorty Torres, the Titan FC bantamweight and flyweight champion, against Jared Brooks, who should have went into this fight undefeated. So Shorty Torres in the UFC played chicken for a while. He's gotten a lot of offers to appear on short notice fights and Dana White's Contender Series. Always turned him down. He said 7 times he's turned him down and didn't want to turn them down an 8th time. Didn't want to be that guy. They kept doing that. So he accepted this fight with Jared Brooks, who is legit, man. It's not like it's just some guy you're going in there against. Jared Brooks is real, and to be honest with you, don't let his record deceive you in the UFC. I think he's top 10 level talent in this flyweight division. So finally this fight gets made, and Brooks should be undefeated going into this fight. He should have beaten Davidson last year. As Showdown Joe pointed out, Torres has to get hit before he gets going, and that is exactly what happened. He gets cracked with a spinning back fist and has a standing body triangle applied. He lost that first round handily. Sorry, I got something in my eye, folks. Brooks was really good at landing strikes in and out of transitions, like when he would go for failed takedowns or clinches. He would make Shorty Torres pay for stuffing that takedown or for getting out of that clinch. He would separate by punching Shorty Torres's face, and I really like that. Torres is able to mat return Brooks off of a spinning attack, and then Brooks lifts up Torres, and the best way I can explain it is he goes for white noise, essentially. The Sheamus move, where you have someone over your back and you drop them down, obviously the shoot version of that. And Torres's leg is draped, essentially the back of his thigh is draped over the head of Jared Brooks. Now, in any slam situation, You don't want the back of your head hitting the mat. You don't want the top of your head hitting the mat. You don't want the front of your head hitting the mat. You don't want your head hitting the mat. Unfortunately for Jared Brooks, that happened. And now instead of 3-0 in the UFC, which he likely should be, the man is 1-2. Shorty Torres knew. You could tell that he knew something was up immediately. It's like he had the wherewithal and the awareness that the back of Brooks' head hit that ground, and he immediately capitalized. Because had he not, who knows how that would have ended up. So Shorty Torres picks up a big win. By hook or by crook, man, he got it done. So now Shorty Torres has just quite an impressive resume for being in MMA such a short amount of time. Like, to put this in perspective, Shorty Torres has been a pro fighter about 6 months longer than CM Punk. And right now, Shorty Torres is 7-0. Now, to be fair, Shorty Torres had his first pro fight scheduled in 2015 and had 3 of them canceled before. And he was, I think he went like 12-0 as an amateur as well. So he's been training a lot longer than CM Punk. But I'm just saying, kind of impressive the way that works out, especially if you're a flyweight, man. If you're a flyweight and you're a pro MMA fighter and you go on a real run, you stand a chance. Now, it's interesting because Shorty Torres told us at Fightful.com that the UFC wasn't looking to sign any more flyweights. And I look at the way that some of their divisions are. I'm very outspoken about the women's featherweight and women's strawweight and women's bantamweight, really any women's division, and especially this UFC flyweight division. They need to build it up with talent. They really do. And Jared Brooks, it seems like he has taken the reins of unluckiest man in MMA, at least at flyweight, from Ian McCall, who just retired. I mean, he got kind of hosed in that decision against Davidson, and then he knocks himself out. Not a lot, I guess, he could have done to prevent that. I mean, besides not do it. We'll see, man. It's a big win for Shorty Torres. Congrats to him. Nathan Wood defeated Johnny Eduardo. That first round, man, it didn't look promising for Wood. It really looked like a father or a much older brother just bullying around someone who didn't know what they were doing yet. And I think the window is closed for Johnny Eduardo. And he says that often the reason he hasn't fought much is because UFC just doesn't offer him anything. But, man, I know that he pulled from a fight in 2011. He pulled from a fight in 2013. He pulled from a fight in 2015, I'm pretty sure. So, I mean, he's never fought more than once a year since his UFC debut in 2011. Like, that you can't do that. And I think that win over Eddie Wineland was way too much stock was put into that. Way, way, way too much. Because, I mean, look at when he faces top-level talent. Asuncao, Sterling, even Matt Lopez. They all beat him, man. And now he's 37 years old. He'll definitely be 38 by the next time that he fights. But anyway, it seemed like Wood's strategy was to get punched in the face after daring the veteran to do so. And that's what happened. I love the way that Wood sped up and went lead kick to jab. And then Eduardo got caught going for a deep half guard on a takedown attempt. But Wood laced in a Darce choke. And I think he stuck in a deep half. Just applied it, man. It was really nice. Wood is a Brad Pickett product. Says that he wants to avenge some of Pickett's losses. That's cool. Desmond Green defeated Gleison Tibau. I thought this was going to be a loser leaves fight because Green lost 2 in a row, and Tibau kept losing and had a drug test failure. To be fair, Tibau won a fight where he failed a drug test, but that got overturned. I thought that Green was busier, faster, more accurate, more aggressive, had better combos, even dropped Tibau in the 3rd round. And it's weird to think Gleison Tibau is 5 months younger than Tony Ferguson. I do not know how that is a thing. 5 months younger than Tony Ferguson. Whew. I definitely won't miss UFC getting preempted by golf, even if it is the U.S. Open. Also, I'm really stoked to see those idiots next week, and I don't like to call viewers, fans, anybody idiots, but that are going to say, why does CM Punk call himself CM Punk instead of his real name? Meanwhile, they don't know who Jangelson Herculano Alves is because that's Gleison Tebow. He's never used his real name. Chet Congo, never used his real name. Bilal Muhammad defeated Chance Rencounter. I'm going to avoid any cheesy Chance Rencounter jokes. I just want to say, what kind of a troll do your parents have to be to know that's the last name and know that they've been nicknamed Chance themselves before and had the puns done to them, and then you name your kid Chance Rencounter? That's demented. How dare you? Bilal Muhammad won in almost every facet of this fight, but never seemed like he wanted to finish it off. But this is in the middle of Ramadan, so I'm inclined to cut him some slack, man. I mean, the fact that he's even fighting during Ramadan, I think, is just impressive as hell. Like that shows you his dedication to the sport. And I'm pretty sure he fought during last Ramadan too and won. I think he fought during I don't remember when Ramadan was in 2016 because it changes. But yeah, he fought right after Ramadan in 2016, like literally a day and a half after. So you know that in 2016, he wasn't really enjoying anything yet. So that's like 3 straight Ramadans that he has fought during, and that's just supremely impressive. So hats off to Bilal Muhammad. Leave us a thumbs up. Subscribe on YouTube if you all don't mind. If you all haven't checked out FightfulMMA.com, highly encourage you to do that. We have all your MMA news. We have tons of exclusives on that exclusive tab. Of course, you can go to Fightful.com, where we're mostly known for our wrestling stuff, but we have a robust MMA section, a robust boxing section. Carlos Toro, one of the most talented writers in boxing, in my estimation, and David Tease, I think, is the best live coverage guy, period. I think he's fantastic at what he does, and he's all over the beat. He picks up stuff all the time. So check out FightfulMMA.com. Give it a glance. Go use our forums. We don't have as much activity over there as I'd like. Just drop in over there. Say hi. Start a topic. Or make your predictions over on our live coverage page. Always looking for more engagement there. If you comment, they will come. David Teemer defeated Nick Lentz via unanimous decision. You know, shout outs to 2014 when some people thought that Lentz was the answer to Conor McGregor's hype because he wasn't. This fight just underwhelmed on so many levels. Teemer is now 5-0 in the UFC. He wants a top 10 opponent, but he did before this. Teemer was egregious in his rule breaking. He gouged Lentz's eyes twice, grabbed the fence 3 different times. That's really all I have to say about this. I'm not going to put over a guy's technical ability when you cheat 5 times in a fight, man, and you don't have any points taken away. The thing is, if he had a point taken away in the first and he had a point taken away in the third, I think he still would have won the fight. Because it would have just been all evened up, man. Number 2, Sijara Eubanks defeated number 3, Lauren Murphy via unanimous decision. I cannot believe this is the top 3 UFC fight. Valentina Shevchenko is going to do dirty things to this division. I'm scared of the things that Valentina Shevchenko is going to do to this division. It's worrisome. And what Joanne Calderwood's going to do to this division. And if Joanna Jędrzejczyk dares to move up, what she would do to this division. Damn. Damn, man. I see some of the striking in here. And I'm like, man, Paige VanZant's got better technical striking than a lot of these women in this women's flyweight division. So, I don't know. Paige VanZant, maybe not as aerodynamic as she was a few months ago. But, you know, this turned into a brawl pretty early, which you would think would favor Murphy, but it didn't through the first 3 minutes or through the duration of the fight. Just as Lauren starts to find her range, Sijara switches and takes Murphy down. Second round was a little closer, but it was still Sijara's in my estimation. Eubanks just coasted and dominated. Did a nice finger wag. That was cool. But Eubanks wants a title shot, and this wasn't a technical masterpiece or anything. Didn't earn a title shot in my mind. When you fail on your weight cut the way that she did and have to be hospitalized, and you got a Valentina Shevchenko ahead of you, then no, I don't think that you can do that. I don't think that you're ready. I don't think that you can move into that role, essentially. So Valentina Shevchenko is going to get that next title shot whenever it may happen. But, whew, man, Sajara, I mean, at least looked good. So there's that. The UFC's got to be kind of happy about that. But I would love to see just Nico Montano defend against Valentina and then Valentina to face Joanna. But if for some reason Joanna gets beat by Tisha Torres, probably ain't going to happen. I could see her moving up, but then again, if she beats Tisha Torres, I don't think she will move up. I think she'll be stubborn and think that she deserves a third crack at Rose when you don't really. Sam Alvey split decisions, John Vellante. I don't know how I feel about this one. So the thing is about Sam Alvey is, man, he's so awkward, and from a technical perspective, he should not be successful in what he does. I had it for Vellante. I know that over half of the media had it for Alvey, but over half of the viewers had it for Vellante. Man, like I said, Alvey's success is puzzling, but there he is dropping sons of bitches, and he does that at the end of the first round, but he's just technically overmatched. Alvey is so awkward, he can make anything a battle, and he calls out Corey Anderson at top 10 UFC light heavyweight, number 9. However, Anderson said that just as soon as that call out happened, that his uncle passed away. So I want to send my condolences to his friends, his family, even his fans. I'm sure it's going to be a tough time for him. So best wishes to his family. That sucks. Sam Alvey now 2-0 in this light heavyweight division, and Sam Alvey's something. I don't know what he is. He is just, man, he's 30 years old or 32 years old, and he just stays active. In the last 2 years, let's see. He's fought 10 times in the last 2 years. That's unreal, man. He had not debuted as a pro 10 years ago. But between The Ultimate Fighter and his pro career, 46 fights, rather. 46 fights in 10 years. 4.6 fights a year. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's like prime Neil Magny, prime Donald Cerrone rate, and he kept it up for 10 years. Man. I think he fought like 8 times in 2010, so that probably helped. But hats off to Sam Alvey for being such a workhorse. Julio Arce submitted Daniel Tamer. Arce led the way with some nice punches, controlled most of the fight. Of course, when we get a finish here, at this point, I was really struggling, guys. Like, this fight was short. This card was shorter than most from both a length perspective and a fights on the card perspective, but I was struggling right here. Arce was able to sink in a rear naked choke. He's now 2-0 in the UFC. His only 2 losses are to Bryan Kelleher. That's kind of interesting. That's a neat piece of trivia that this highly touted prospect, the only guy that has beaten him, is a guy who's done pretty well for himself in the UFC, in Bryan Kelleher. So I don't think he'll get another shot at a Bryan Kelleher anytime soon to avenge those 2 losses. But you never know. I mean, Kelleher's coming off of a loss against Lineker. I've seen crazier things happen, but I think Julio Arce is looking very good thus far in the UFC. Up next, Ben Saunders, TKO Jake Ellenberger. This is really happening. Oh, this fight. I don't know why they put it together. Ellenberger cracked Saunders with a wild hook. I thought maybe that was the end for Saunders. And for some reason, Ellenberger clinched with Saunders.
What?
Why would you do that, man? Why would you do that? A knee to the liver crumpled Ellenberger, and, he's a former Edmond project. I'm not going to say a product because the downfall of his career was an Edmond product, and Edmond was somewhere screaming, liver movement, punches. A shame. He needs to do something besides fighting. He is 2-9 in his last 11. Ben Saunders cut this post-fight promo and screamed, nobody dedicates their life to MMA, only me. I get the feeling some other people have dedicated their lives to MMA. But congrats to him. It's his first finish since 2014. So I'm sure he was pretty psyched about that. I heard he cut a pretty crazy backstage promo as well. But look at a Ben Saunders, man. I remember him fighting like way back in the day. Like, shoot, dude. I remember him fighting Ryan Thomas like a decade ago. And then he had that Bellator run that lasted a couple years and went back to the UFC even after he lost that tournament. So it's good to see him get back in the win column at the very least. He is passionate, but even though this was a quick finish, it was just like, man, a fight that probably shouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? Felt a little guilty. I felt a little dirty watching this. Watching this just, I just felt gross, bro. Walt Harris TKOs Daniel Spitz, round 2. The first round of this fight sucked. And 16 minutes from the end of Saunders' weird promo to the start of this fight, literally nothing happened for about 9 minutes until Harris uncorked a combo, dropped Spitz, and then Harris followed up with some nasty, nasty elbows. Now, Walt Harris beat Cody East, who is just a perennial domestic abuser. So he's on my Christmas card list, so to speak. And I remember how excited Walt Harris was and just emotional he was after getting that win, because he went through his first UFC run in 2013, 2014, and he lost. He lost to Jared Rosholt and Nikita Krylov. Had his one fight in Titan and made it back that year. Lost in his return, and they still kept him, even though he lost to Hulk Palele. And then he got that win over Cody East and would go on and win 3 of his next 4. So he was on quite a roll, and then he took that fight. It was really a no-lose situation against Verdum, and he got submitted almost immediately. Got DQ'd in the Mark Godbeer fight because of an illegal head kick. So he's had a rough go of it, especially the last year in a couple of fights. One where he got DQ'd, just an absence of paying attention. He got beat by Verdum. It was in that split decision against Abdurakhimov that was, it was close, but he got back in the win column, and he's going to be a guy that hangs around in this division. But Spitz landed 3 really decent strikes, and really not much else happened. This was a lot of in, out, but didn't look good for Daniel Spitz, I'll tell you that much, because he got split open and was taken to the back. He's now 1-2 in the UFC, but he's only been a pro for a couple of years. And he's a 27-year-old, 6'7" guy. He's real big and lean, 82-inch reach. I think eventually he puts it together. I mean, he's got some nice tools, but this was a nasty one for him. Gregor Gillespie submits Vince Pichel round 2. Gillespie scored with a couple of really nice takedowns and moves around the guard rather easily. Even when Pichel got up and stuffed a takedown, Gillespie had a great second and third effort, was able to turn the corner, take Vince down. In the second round, we see more of the same, and then Gillespie instead moves over to the arm triangle and just really wrapped it up. I love me a good arm triangle. Gillespie now 5-0 in the UFC. He completely jobbed out Pichel, and Pichel had 4 wins in a row in the UFC. That's not easy, man, especially in this lightweight division. A lot of people asking, where does a Gillespie go from here? Well, he wants a top 10 opponent, I think. I think he'll likely get a top 15 opponent, maybe a James Vick, someone who can possibly neutralize that wrestling, maybe, or at least they think would, or an Alexander Hernandez, like an Alexander Hernandez who popped up into that UFC top 15, even though he only has one win against Dariush. So I think that if Hernandez is able to get past Abin Mercier, then we could definitely see Hernandez against him. And Abin Mercier is another one of those guys. It's like they're putting him in there sink or swim after that Dunham fight, because he's been finishing guys lately. I mean, Abin Mercier has a history of finishing people when he gets in there. So that's something we're seeing out of that lightweight division. It sure as hell is something that we saw out of this bantamweight division. Jimmie Rivera told a story on the Holy Smokes MMA podcast, courtesy of James Lynch. You all can see the full interview over at FightfulMMA.com. Click that exclusives tab, pull it up. He tells about the process of how the Moraes fight happened, because he was supposed to fight Dominick Cruz. Cruz withdrew due to injury. This is UFC 219. Lineker was replacing him, and then he had to withdraw as well. And then Marlon Moraes threw his name in the hat, only to make several concessions. He said, and then Rivera said 138. They said no. They said 140. No. 145. No. January 20th. No. They tried to figure out somebody else for January 20th. Fight didn't happen. So when Rivera was offered the fight in February, he passed on it because of issues that surrounded the fight. Talked about all this beef with Ali Abdelaziz, who obviously has a big hand in a lot of the fighters that he manages, especially their social media. However, Rivera got a new contract because of this fight. So that's a big reason of why it went down and why they were still trying to get things going for Jimmie Rivera. And because originally Jimmie Rivera was just going to wait around for Dominick Cruz. But he got a new contract, and probably a good thing he got it before this fight. Just immediately, Marlon Moraes head kicks Jimmie Rivera, follows him to the ground with ground and pound, and that's a wrap. Rivera tried to protest the stoppage initially. There was nothing to protest, man. Nothing there. Cheers, y'all. Stay hydrated. It was a good stoppage. What can you say? Just clipped Rivera on the top of the head with that kick right across the shin. It was beautiful. You have to remember something about Marlon Moraes. He's another guy. I brought up how Jared Brooks should have been undefeated coming into that fight. Marlon Moraes should be undefeated in the UFC. Should be 4-0 in the UFC right now. I thought he beat Sun Sao. He defended that World Series of Fighting Bantamweight Championship 5 times in a row. Should have been 6, but Cody Bollinger missed weight. He beat Miguel Torres back when it meant a little bit of something, at least, to beat a Miguel Torres. It was his first fight after the UFC. But, Marlon Moraes has a real chance, I think. He has a real chance. If it were up to me, Marlon Moraes gets the title shot. I don't think Cody Garbrandt deserves the title shot. I'm tired of this carousel hokey-pokey horse shit between TJ Dillashaw, Dominick Cruz, Cody Garbrandt, even dating back to Uriah Faber. I am tired of that carousel where they just got to fight each other and fight each other and fight each other and fight each other. And Cody Garbrandt loses the title via KO in the second round after he never successfully defended the title. It took him 11 months or 10 months to defend the title, never fights again, and then gets a shot, what was it, 9 months after he lost it? No win in between. You have Rivera, who if he gave him a title shot, it would have been okay. If he gave Moraes a title shot, yeah, maybe would have had a problem with that, but why not? Lineker, even though he's lost to to TJ Dillashaw, I think he's more qualified than Garbrandt because he's won since then. Man. I mean, the night that TJ Dillashaw beat John Lineker was the night that Cody Garbrandt had his last victory in the UFC. I just don't think he deserves it. And I had a lot of people saying, well, he was winning the first round until he got knocked. Doesn't matter. That's not what the end result said. Doesn't matter. So, yeah, there you go. At that UFC event, actually, I probably will likely be covering that event via podcast the day after, as I have a seminar to attend that day. Can't really get out of that. But at Bantamweight division, man, look at it. I don't know if Cruz will ever fight again. I have no idea what that guy wants. I know he's like, I think I'll wait for a title shot. Well, no guy. You probably shouldn't, because you didn't fight all of 2017. It's been a year and a half since you lost your title. No. It's not the way it works. Sorry. But still, he's a great fighter. You have a Sun Sao. You have Jimmie Rivera, who's still very dangerous. Lineker, Dodson. Aljamain Sterling starting to come into his own. I think Bryan Caraway, I think that's where the elite kind of just falls off. You know what I mean? But that top 8, I see something really special. Although I will say, Bryan Caraway, even in his loss to Cody Stamann, his shot was very, very quick. And that can get him pretty far in that division. Woo! Man, Marlon Moraes looked incredible. Incredible. Guys, of course, I want to encourage you to check out the Holy Smokes MMA podcast every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern here on Fightful.com. Myself, Showdown Joe, World MMA Award nominated for Journalist of the Year one year. We chat it up. We chop it up. We have some pros picks. We have some guests. James Lynch does some incredible work for us. If you all want to support Fightful.com, you can go to Fightful Select. But if you maybe don't want to support financially, I'll just recommend, if you're interested in any of our stories that you see, hop in there and just drop a comment. Just say, I agree, I disagree. I can't tell you how much that helps. When people see comments, they like to get engaged. They like to join the discussion. And that makes a more robust community for all of us. Hop over on the forums. Just say hi. Say, yeah, I like this. Yeah, I didn't like that. We have sports forums, video game forums. Going to really make a push to make those more active this summer. Guys, thank you all so much. You all can definitely subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit that bell for the notification. We're on Player FM, iHeartRadio. Pretty sure we're on Spotify. We're on a little bit of everything. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, we're out.